So, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers, sisters and aunties, boys and girls, So today we are here to just have fun with my sister, my mother. I don't. Do you know? I failed to really call her by name. I don't know which name to actually refer to her. This is an amazing woman that I came to know when I came to Namibia, and the honest truth is, she's one of those people who have known me very well, and even the deeper secrets that sometimes I don't tell everyone, I keep sharing with her, and she's an amazing woman, and a wife, and has a husband who is very amazing also. And don't forget, your husband will chase me. Very amazing. So today we just want to have a small chat with her, and she has an amazing story. She has an amazing story, amazing about how she went through what she went through to get to where she is. So I just really don't even know where to start from. I don't even know which words to use to introduce her. And today we are here at Palmera Lodge. They have given us this opportunity to just have this session together, and I hope as we are going through in the next 10 or 15 minutes, I don't know how long it is going to be. Yeah. So without further ado, may you allow me to welcome the auspicious Iron Lady, Madam Mrs. Prata Kaliata. So, how are you, my sister? Okay.
Very fine.
You're very fine.
Very fine.
I love the fact that you add very in the fine. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Really appreciate so much, and I do not take anything for granted.
Thank you.
I just wanted you to take me back to, I really want to understand. I know a very small portion of your life that is amazing. Today I want to, the good thing of having a camera is I can ask you any question,
It's true. And I have to answer. It's true.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true.
So tell me, Meme, maybe just take us behind. Where were you born?
My name is Ndahafa.
Introduction. Hey, me, I forget. Okay. Please, introduction.
My name is Ndahafa, and my Christian name is Perpetua. It actually means resistant, permanent, stronger. It means a lot. It's like forever.
Okay.
Yeah, and my father's name is Kamatingeno. I am actually born in Engela Hospital.
What?
Yes.
Here?
Yes, here. So I am born and grew up half of my, let me say until I was maybe 10, in the area called Omatunda village on the eastern side of Angwena.
Okay, I know Matunda.
Yeah, I'm born there. I'm the third for my family. We are actually 5. So it's 2 ladies and 3 guys. So I'm in the middle, 2 older ones before me and 2 after me.
You are the one they call Opshakati or
Yes,
Shakati.
yes. So I'm in the middle.
Okay.
Yes.
You make me not even to know. So you have 4 siblings basically.
Yes, I have 4 siblings.
So there are 2 boys and 2
And
girls.
2 girls.
And you are in the middle.
No, there are 3.
You are 3 boys
and
2
2
girls.
Yeah.
You are the second girl.
Yeah, I'm the second girl.
Or you are
and
the
the
first
youngest.
one?
No, I'm
Oh,
the
you are
youngest,
the youngest.
girl.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me, where did you school, by the way?
I went to 7 schools.
What?
Yes.
Take us back there.
So my preschool, and we were saying kindergarten by then. I studied it in a place called Etale village. Yeah, actually my cousin used to take me there when I was younger until when I reached the going to school age. So I started there grade 0 and grade 1, 2 and 3, I think, because by then we were only having Oshikonino, which is pre, then it's standard 1, standard Oshikonino, and sub A, sub B, and standard 1. So I studied those 3 grades in that school, and then 4. And then I went, my mother left my father's house, and I went to live with my uncle. I went to a place called a poly. So I studied in a school called Onamahoka in grade standard 2. And then I came to my another uncle, because I was a bit like too much. So I went to another uncle. And
you were too much.
Yeah. And I went to a school called a poly. And I studied there grade standard 4. And standard 4, I moved and I went to Odibo. I came back to my grandfather. I came to my grandmother's house in Matunda. So I went to Odibo in grade 7. So in grade 7, my grandmother wanted to put me in a thing. How can now I call it an initiation? It's called like it's a feast that they do to determine when you are a girl to become a woman. So I was heavy and tall. So she thought I was ready to have a husband. So I ran myself. I think I was maybe 12, if I'm not mistaken. And I took a bus to Windhoek alone.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to the city and I found my father. And I went to study my grade 7, my standard 7, and standard 5, 6, and 7 in Windhoek. So I actually they went to change grades, standard to grades when I was in standard 7. I mean standard 9, which is grade 11 by now. Yeah, so this is where I ended because I got pregnant when I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something. When you went to Windhoek, when you are that young, did you know where you're going? Had you communicated to your parents? How did you know where am I going? Or you just knew your father is in Windhoek, I'm going?
Actually, because they made us believe that if you run away, your parents will die. So they were saying, yeah, if you run, we will die. So I waited for the night and I went. And I slept in the bush until in the morning to the place where they take buses. In the morning, the bus that I took, I did not know where I was going. I just knew this is a bus to Windhoek because it's where we used to come and get the goods when my father sent goods. So luckily, the bus owner was my father's friend and he knew my father's house. So I went with him and he took me there. Yes.
Sure. You know, I knew there's a lot that I would never know about.
Yes,
so you're
true.
in grade 9.
Yes,
are
I was
15,
in grade 9 and I was 15.
And you get pregnant.
Yes, I got pregnant because when I went to Windhoek, it was not hard. But then in believing when your parents separated and you find another woman, so you always think this woman is the one at fault. So me and my stepmother, we were not really in good terms. So we'll say this and I'll do the other way around. And most of the time I think I was trying to get her attention. And maybe she did not know how to handle me. So there were times that she does not give me food. So sometimes for weeks, because my sister, whom was there before me, the firstborn, she ended up going to study in Swaziland. So she left me behind with my cousins and my stepmother. So she was doing the best that she can. So it can be weeks before I eat. I used to go to the neighbors' houses. So I ended up knowing the lunchtime hours, dinner hours. So I would go around the location and I eat. And most of the time, that to a girl, I was already growing up as a teenager. And one of the neighbors' cousin, he ended up impregnating me while I was 15.
That was the first one?
That was the first one,
okay.
Yes. That was the first one. So I think it was funny because I was still a child. I could not believe that I was pregnant. So I could still go in the street and ride my bike and go swimming and still go and jumping hula hoops. Yeah, so until when I cannot, like really when the tummy got bigger and you cannot ride bikes anymore, it's when I think, let me say my father will be like, okay, go to your husband's. It's like somebody impregnates you, so they expected for the person to take care of you. So I would go to the neighbor's house. When I go there, I look at the guy because he was older than me. So I think he was like, this kid. Yeah, so he will like be leaving me there and he will go. He will come back in the morning and he will bring like sweets and chocolate and biscuits and he will say, don't tell your father, just come back tonight again. Then he will leave me and he go. So by God's grace, I delivered a baby boy, and nothing happens to me, not to the child. Yeah, it was not easy. I really got sick at birth because I was too young, and I was paralyzed. I was paralyzed on my left side for, I think it was for 3 months. Yeah, but by God's grace, these other people and my parents, the guy's family and my parents, they sat and they decided on my life. So they decided I should go back to school, and then the other people, they would take the baby. So they raised the baby, and I think I got big-headed. So I'm a woman now. I have a child. Nobody can tell me what to do. So I ended up hanging out with wrong people. Actually, they might be not wrong. Maybe I was the wrong one. Yeah, we started going to bars, and sometimes we sunrise, but I never drank alcohol.
Oh.
Yeah, so we fight some people, and fast forward, I ended up being chased out of the house by my father. He chased me out. I was 15 with a 11-month baby, 11-month old baby. And I went to stay to some people's, only known people. They are not really related to us. Yeah, so because from the household where we came from, let me say my grandmother's house, we were the poorest in the village. Even the people that you call poor now, they were even richer than us. Yeah, we had food, but in our house, school was not really something that you can say, a parent can say, go to school, it's time for, it's like if you want to go to school, you can. If you don't want, you can stay.
It was not really a priority.
Yeah, it's not, it's something that looked not important. Yeah, so when I went back to school, I could not really put my head to it. Until one day, when my father chased me out of the house, this other lady told me that I have to buy food also. Yeah, and I was only 15, and I did not have money. And then the father of the baby came, and I did not want to get into a relationship with someone. And so he was like, okay, he wanted to accommodate me and the baby, but then I did not want by then, because for me to get pregnant, it's not like I was in a relationship with someone. It was somebody taking advantage of the destitute child. Yeah, and then my parents thought of it as it was not of importance. And for me, I refused to be a victim, so I thrive to be, when my baby was 1 year and 5 months old, I was moving from one house to another house. So I ended up going to, one day my son was hungry and I did not have food. And I was traveling like by foot, and the baby was really heavy. So I was going through riverbeds to go and find people that I know to see if I can get food. And when I went there, this other person, let me say, they really opened my eyes. They said, how long are you going to be depending on people, because you are having another life depending on you now? So I've decided, I look at my son, and I decided to go and look for work. So with, let me say with grade 9, it's a 10. Yeah, because I went back to school, but I only passed grade 9 to 10. So, but I did not go back. Yeah, with grade 10, there's nothing much you can do. You are either going to sell in the bar or being a domestic worker in somebody's house. So I got a job in an Indian who used to sell second-hand cars as a coffee lady, as a tea lady. I was doing well. I was gaining 150 Namibian rand.
You know,
by then.
a month?
Yeah, a month. Yeah. So it was money. I can buy my son something. But then by then the father took the child. He came to me and said, okay, I have to take this child. Whatever you need in life, you can call me. I will come if I can help. So we parted our ways. And it was really hard when I look back at it now, if somebody have to go through that. But me, I did not get really, when I was going through it, I did not see that it was hard, but it gave me, my son gave me a strength to move to the next day. So that job, I worked it for 3 months, and I went and got another one, because this shop have to close. I got a I got a job in a house. So I was like a domestic worker at the same time, a house help, and then a bar lady, because the lady used to sell drinks. So then I started dating the lady's brother. Let me say maybe not dating, but he saw interest in me. But me myself, I was still like not really mature enough.
At this time, you are around 18.
I was 18. Did not work out. So this lady, I stayed with her for 1 year. She was paying me also 150. I can send 100 to my mother and remain with a 50 because I was a living-in helper. So I really don't need taxi money. I don't need food money. All I can buy is maybe you need a T-shirt or something or slippers. Otherwise, I'm grateful because she was giving me food and a place to stay. So after a year, the lady changed her mind and said, oh, I cannot, I think I cannot pay you anymore because the business is going down. And I'm like, I'm here to work. I have my son. I need money. So she was like, okay, if you want to continue, I have to take you to a witch doctor because I think you are bad luck.
You're not serious.
Yeah, so I was like, it's your business. And I'm the one who's going to go to a witch doctor. How is that possible? If you believe in those things, then that means you go to the witch doctor because it's your business, not mine. Then she was insisting. And I moved from that house. I went to one of my cousins' house who was also looking for a nanny for her kids. Yeah, when I went there, I stayed for 1 month, and she paid me 100 because she said I was late for 1 week. So I stayed there. The second month, she came and said they are no longer in need of a helper. I have to go and look for a place to stay. So I went to another location. It's like colored location in Windhoek. It's called Komasdal. Where colored, yeah. So I went there. Life was really good for me because my uncle was treating me good. He was a young man, but then he was really treating me good. He's having a house, but a 1-bedroom house. I was sleeping in the sitting room, and he was really taking care of me like he was taking care of his child. So we stayed for a year. Then I started dating. By then I was 19.
Around 2019 there.
I was maybe 18. I think we were too fat. I was 18 because it was before I get my second child. So I started dating this guy and I got pregnant. So when I got pregnant, I want to tell this guy. He was a police officer. And he chased me out. He was even trying to beat me. He said, I'm not responsible for a pregnancy. I'm not ready to be a father. I'm too young. So he was giving me all sorts of excuses. So I went back to my uncle's house. When I went there, we were living good until the stomach started to show. So in our culture, it's like when you are pregnant before marriage, sometimes people look at you like a loose girl. So he was like, no, if you are pregnant, you have to go and find the person who's responsible for pregnancy. And so I was chased again because of the same problem. So actually, from there, I was roaming the street of Windhoek until I bumped into a girl that I knew from the village. And she told me she was staying at a private hostel where people pay $70 Namibian. So I went there. When I went there, this lady, I slept there like for 3 days. And then herself, because she was also not working, she started like, okay, everybody get their own ways, my brother. If you don't bring anything on the table, so you will not eat. Then out of pity, there was a girl. She was from Ondangwa village. Those times it's called Onaena. So she became my friend. And this girl can go out and bring food for me. This is somebody that I have never met before. It was my first time. She will bring food. She's called Anna. Anna will bring food. She will bring bread.
You even remember the names?
Yeah. Until now we are friends. We kept in touch. She was called Anna. And she will bring, sometimes we will eat bread with water. Yeah, just bread with water. And we were doing fine. We were doing really fine. Yeah. Okay. So after, in the 8th month, the pregnancy, the tummy was big. I went to look for this guy. And I was like, I want to go to the village. And with this tummy, nobody will be able to give me a lift just like that. I have to pay. And the guy was like, no, I have to look for money. And he was looking for ways maybe to give me money because he might not really have money that day. But then I went back to the private hostel with my friend Anna. And this Anna have to look for. I don't know where she got the money. She gave me $150. I packed my bags and I came back to the north, to my grandmother's house. When I came there, my grandmother was really nice. She was an old lady, but she took care of everyone. So when I came, she gave me $300 to go and buy in secret. She said, when the people ask you, tell them that it's the father of your baby who gave you the things to go and buy the clothes for your babies. Because if not, they will think maybe I was a prostitute and I don't know who impregnated me. So I went and bought the children's clothes in secret. And I stayed home. So I gave birth to a baby girl. So I stayed for 5 months. Then my sister told the guy that I delivered the baby. And he sent my sister with a baby's name and so. So fast forward, it was really an experience. But I was bitter and angry with this guy. Yeah. Fast forward, because the other baby was born in 1998.
The first one?
The first one, in January. And I think around May or April there, I started having a friendship with a colored lady, a colored guy. He's called Dot. So he started being my friend and he started like taking care of me and the baby. So we developed a relationship. One thing led to another. I got pregnant while that baby was only 5 months.
The firstborn?
The second born.
Second born.
Yeah. Imagine the humiliations. You are having a baby and you went and you have an issue with another guy who's not the father of the baby while the baby was still breastfeeding, blah, blah, stories like that. In our culture, it is not done. So I was an outcast. I was rejected. I was laughed at. I was called even names until my mother came and took this other baby while she was 5 months, I think. She went with my mother. And in 1999, March, I gave birth to another baby girl.
This is the third born?
Yeah, the third born. This guy was taking care of the child. We were good. Until one day I decided to go and visit him and I found him with another girl of his race. So I came back home. I think I was heartbroken. Yeah, I was young by then. We were dumb and stupid by then. We believed everything. So I stayed in the village again until, I believed I was fine because my grandmother can give food. You have money to buy soaps. And at the end of the day, the guy was still bringing something for the baby, even if we are no longer together. So 99, I think, around October, my grandmother passed away. So my life was like, it was shattered. Where will I go from here? Where do I start from? So I was really lost, like completely lost. And then...
All this time your father, your real father and your real mother are there?
My mother was a housewife, a village housewife. She's not educated. And after she separated from my father, she came back to her family. So
this is the family where your grandmother is from? Okay.
My mother's mother. When I say my grandmother, it's my mother's mother. So she was this woman who was content with whatever she have. Whether she does not have clothes, it's just fine as long as she's having something to cover her body. So in my grandmother's house, most of the time, because my mother's younger sister used to go to the south, they were always having clothes, they were always having money, things like modern things that we lack. So some of my cousins were disrespectful to my mother. So she had to move to go to her elder brother's village house. So that's why I was the only one from her children who were living there. Yeah, my other siblings lives elsewhere. So it was really not easy because my mother is a person who cannot talk back. She never fought back. No matter what, she was, she was unreliable. I cannot rely on her. Number one, she was not having the means to take care of me. Even food, but she was capable of taking off my kids. So by then, she went with my second child, and I remained with the third one. So when my grandmother passed away, I was lost. And me and my mother, we have to go and buy a piece of land. I think it was as big as this lodge. We bought it 40 Namibian dollar, and we built a village house. We were only having 2 huts, this hut, village house.
Hut, yeah.
The Namibian ones are smaller, not like the one for Kenya. They are very smaller and tiny. So this same hut is the one that we use for storing our clothes. It's a bedroom, and at the same time it's a kitchen. So in the night,
it's basically remote control.
Yeah, so
you're like this. You're in the kitchen. You're in the bedroom.
In the night, because it was only circled with shaft.
Shafts, yeah.
Yeah, the pigs, they will come in and start fighting for food. So you have to sleep like sleepless nights to chase away the pigs. But fast forward, there was a day that because my grandmother passed away, and me and my auntie, my mother's younger sister, we are not really friends. So I was thinking of, at least there at my grandmother's house, there are food. But here at my mother's house, we went to start a house with only a bucket of mahango. There's no money. My mother was too young to get the old people's pension fund. So I was not working with lots of babies. So life was really hard. There was this time that we were supposed to, the food was finished. So I did not know, because every time when we are cooking, my mother never allows me to enter the storeroom. By then we were having now 3 huts. So when the food was finished, I just realized my mother is forever sleeping. But she was having, every day she was reading the Bible about Sarah and Abraham. But when you come and sit with us, she will not even talk to you to tell you that there's no food. She's just reading God told Abraham, those kind of things. I really was not a believer by then. I went and picked the nyandi, our berries. Yeah. I went and picked nyandis because in our bucket of flour there was only a flour that you can carry with 2 hands, and we were more than 7 people in the house. It was me, my mother, my younger brother, my 2 kids, and one of my 3 cousins. So this cannot even be enough to do a soft pap. So I went to the nonyandi. So I have to pound the dry nonyandi. So and make the flour of nonyandi to mix it with the one for the maize meal, and we make a pot of soft pap, which was sweetened by the nyandis. So that day I went and cried. That's when I remembered there's a God somewhere there. And I called upon his name. I said, God, do we have to die by hunger? They said you provided for Abraham when you sent him to a foreign land. Now here we are, my kids and my mother will be forever like, oh my God. Some other people, their kids are working, but me, what happened to my kids? And I'm hearing this. It was really painful for me. So I cried. There were some bushes nearby. I pretended to be going to ease myself, and I cried to God there. Before sunshine, one of my mother's cousin was a bus driver. He came with a 50 kg maize meal bag and a box of fish and some oil, sugar, and some bread, and he even gave my mother a 200. On that day, I left. I went back to the village where my grandmother was, because it was a long distance. I went with this other baby. When I went there, I see the movement change. It's like when people saw me, it was like, what is she doing here? We thought she went with the mother. She came back again. But in my mind, I was thinking, okay, this 50 kg, I should not be included again. At least if I'm not there, it will take longer. And I slept for 2 days in that house. The second day, I stood up and came to Chicago. I left my baby for the neighbors. I came in Chicago. I was looking for work. And then by then, that side of Sepia building, there was a company called security company called Rubicon Security. I don't have qualifications. I don't have experience, but I believe that God will do something for me that day. I have never looked for work before, even when I was in Windhoek. people will come and say, no, there's somebody who needs a worker there. But I have never stood up to go and look for work before. So when I came there, I really have hope and faith that something will come. So they employed me because I could speak Afrikaans. The white guy liked the way I speak because everybody was speaking English by then. So he employed me as a part-time clerk in the company, in the office. So because I was having a baby, I was obliged to work daytime in the office, and the week that I'm supposed to work nighttime, I will go to the shops. So I stayed there for 2 years. I was
2 years?
working, yeah. I was working for 2 years, and life really changed for my mother. I even bought zincs, so life became better. So in this, before I came to Chicago, I was depressed one day, and I went to a revival church. It was called AFM Church.
Hangwena?
Hangwena. That's where I started. It was fine. I became born again, and there I found peace, like really peace. But then I did not really understand, like you don't have to have a boyfriend, you don't have to drink, because for me I did not drink. The only problem was boyfriends. So now I have to stay alone. What if things did not go well? Until I went and took a job. Things were going well, and I started dating again. 2 years, I think.
That was after you got the job?
Yeah, after I got the job. I got some relationship, with one of my co-workers, and I got a boyfriend job. It was fine, but then the relationship did not materialize. Same story again, finding with another friend of mine. So then I stayed from 2000
Jaxa is calling. Jaxa will pick Jaxa later. Later we'll pick. We are almost done.
So by then, my baby grew up and went home. It was the fourth child. Yeah. So she went home and I stayed a bit. It was in 2001 that I got that third child. So I went.
The fourth child.
The fourth child. I only want to start dating in 2003. So I got a Congolese guy. We were dating, we were fine, things were good. And until he wanted to have a baby. So it's that baby every day, baby here, baby there. He even wanted to get married, but I realized that this marriage was having everything to do with papers. So then I was not really into marriage by then. Because of my parents' marriage, I did not believe in marriage by then. So in 2004, I had a child with a baby boy. So while I was pregnant, so if I go to Ndahafa, I will find out that there was another woman in the room because we were renting. So, and then this will lead to a fight. If you ask him who was here, he will beat you, things like that. Until I became isolated, I was not having friends. He will make sure that we have no friends, we don't go out.
By this time, you're still working in the shop?
Yeah, I was still working in the shop. But then when I became pregnant, you cannot
work all those time.
You cannot work all the time. But he was also jealousy. Over jealousy too much. And I had to leave the work. Okay. So because I was no longer working, before I became pregnant, I was doing some businesses. I'll go to Angola, I'll buy things and go and sell. When you sell something, you send your money, when you come back home, there's nothing. Yeah, so until when the stomach gets bigger, I can no longer go to buses and so on. And I came to realize that there was another woman who was having these kids. So when I was about, on the 9th month, I started dating another Damara lady. So this was disturbing. The lady would come to look for him in the room when we were renting. Place will call home. So this is the first time that I have been living together with someone. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to treat a man. Yeah, so we encountered some problems until one day when this baby, I gave birth to a baby, the baby had to go back to the village because it's our culture, what we believed in. So after 3 months, I came back, and I believe by this time the relationship between me and the Tamara lady, it became stronger. So I remember one day, it was during day in the afternoon time. This girl came. She was pulling her suitcase, and I was in the room with the baby. I was breastfeeding. So somebody came and called him, John, there was somebody looking for him. He went out. So, you know, as a person who know that this guy is not straight, you always want to know who's looking for him. I was looking through the door to check who's that. I opened the door. He went and picked up this girl, kissed her and put her down. The girl was having her suitcase. He came back and he told me, you have to go. And I'm like, where can I go? He said, you have to go. I don't want you anymore. I have a baby, and the guy is telling me he does not want me anymore. You know, by this, I'm already getting old. I was maybe 23 by then, or 24. You know, you believe by then that you are too old, you are getting old with 5 babies. Where are you going to start from? And you are no longer working. So regrets comes in. And I was fighting not to go. And this guy, he took the bags I was having and he started loading me with bags. First he took the baby and he was like threatening to throw away the child. So I have to get hold of the baby, and he took my bags and started putting the bags on me. So I went out, let me say he pushed me out of the room. I went and stood out. I was crying that day. I was really sad. It was really a sad story, but then it was embarrassing also because we were living in a flat where lots of people lives there. So
This was in Oshikango.
this was in Oshikango. We were living here at where I Louis is. There were flats there behind there. We were in
Louis.
where Fimaneka is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there were rooms there. Before they bought that place, there was somebody else who was having rooms there. We were living there, and this guy pushed me out of the room for another woman to enter with his child. And I was fighting and like trying to fight, but then because I was still a nursing mother, I was not that strong. So he pushed me out and brought another woman in, live in front of everyone. I was crying.
And the other woman just entered.
She was even kicking the plastic bags.
You are not serious.
I'm telling you.
She's also Namibian.
She's a Namibian. The bags that are falling on the ground, she's kicking. Take these things out of here, man. I want to enter, you know.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. When I'm looking at it today, it's like a movie.
Did you ever meet this woman after?
I did. I came back.
Yeah?
I went to recuperate, and I came back. And I really beat her very much.
You are not serious?
That day, because I was weak, I was nursing, and then this guy made sure that he will feed me like this when I was breastfeeding. So I took my baby, and I was going out, and the other girl went in.
You came back.
Yes. This guy, he gave me $100 because I came back and said, give me taxi man because I don't have transport money. He took $100 out of a bandage of money like this, and he took $100, and you know, he threw it on my face, and it fell to the child and fell on the ground. So I have to call other people to come and pick the money and give me. So I went to my mother's house. I stayed there for 6 months. When I stayed there for 6 months, I knew I was strong. The baby was 9 months by then. So I came back that day. So when I came back, I was thinking of paying her back in another manner because I know this guy is a womanizer. I was thinking maybe I can seduce him again, but I remember he was not really. It was a risky for me because I can get any sickness. So I thought of coming. I came back and I found he was not there. So because he was not there, I waited for him, and this girl called him, and he came. When he came, I'm like, I was trying to see where do I start to make a confusion so that I can fight. So this guy, he was like, no, I don't have money and so on. I slapped him hard, and I picked him. Yeah, the guy. I picked him up and I hit him on the floor.
You fought the guy?
Brother Manya, if it was not for God, I could fight.
Eh?
Me, I can fight my battles. So, so I hit the guy on the floor, and I took the baby and the girl. I started hitting
You
her.
mix all of them
I
inside.
was beating the two of them now.
You make them
So
oshukundu.
this other guy was trying to close the door, but then the girl, luckily, she ran away. So it was by God's grace, because I was so hurt by then, and I could have done something greater. Because I took a knife and I stabbed him in the hand. The guy. Yeah. So I ran back to my mother's house and I stayed there. We lost the contact with the guy. And I heard later on, after years, he went to prison, and the girl also went to prison. Yeah, so the girl had joined these gangs of, they go to the bars, seduce people, and they pretend to bring them home. Then they pretend, the other thief will pretend like it's the boyfriend who came or husband who came yeah. So they ended up, the girl first, they ended up killing an Angolan guy with some groups of guys.
Yeah.
She went to prison. And him, he was caught trying to cross the border into South Africa without documents. So he was arrested. When he was arrested, I was lucky. I count myself lucky, because between the girl going to prison and him going to prison, he used to look for me. If I go to Windhoek, you just see him, he's there. Because I stayed with him for 2 years, many of my people knows him. If he make a call and acquire where I was,
It is easy to find you.
it's easy to find me. You just see him, he's there. So because when he left me without anything, but I was having a phone. I sold this phone, and I started selling and buying again things in Angola. So in 3 occasions, he will come, he will pretend to be like sorry, and he came back and so on, and he will re-steal the money again. He will steal every money.
Ndahafa also.
Even the phone, he will steal. So it happens 3 times. Before I came home, when he stole, the last time when he stole the phone, and before I came from Chicago, when I was pregnant, this other lady who was having 2 of his kids, she came to abandon the kids with me. So I have to take these kids to the village to my mother.
To your mother?
When he's chasing me out of the room, his kids are at my mother's village house.
Oh, Ndahafa also, you. You made up.
So I ended up going to the village, and then there was
With the 2 kids of that guy?
I found them there. They were already living there. So we stayed with these kids, and even when he was stealing money, when he came, there was a time he found me in Windhoek. He stole all the money that I sold and went. Then I went to Swakopmund. I was selling in Swakopmund. He came there. He was not even having transport money. I have to pay for his transport money. He stole the money and went. And he left me with my SIM card, you know, the phone card. He put it in a piece of toilet paper and left it on the table. And he went. The 3rd time, he came back again. And he stole all the money and the phone. So he went. He will always leave the SIM card there, so that if I recuperate, he will find me again with the same number. So this time, I left Swakopmund. I have to sell my clothes from the back. I sell like a second-hand clothes. And by God's grace, I managed to get transport money to come back to my mother's house. Hangwena. So he was arrested. He went to prison. I was relieved. You know, it's not good for you to enjoy somebody's suffering, but I was really happy when he was arrested. I was like, God have removed this man out of my life. You know, I'm really a good person. I don't know. People take advantage of me. So if you come and you say you are sorry and you act very good, I will believe that you are sorry.
You just need actors on.
Yeah, so when I went to my mother's house, I decided, before he was arrested, I decided I will not renew my card anymore. I will not buy a phone. I will just stay like this. So we lost contact until I heard he was arrested. And in the same month, my former boss called me.
The one in Oshikango?
The one in Oshikango, that he has a job in Rundu. So I did not know Rundu before. So I went to Rundu and I got a job. But by this time, it was just an ordinary security job working at the door of the shop. So I stayed there. It was 2006, if I'm not mistaken. I stayed there for some months, and it's where I met my husband. Yeah. So it was just somebody that I was trying my luck. because when you are young, you are having this idea of, I want a guy to be like this, to be like
Tall,
this.
dark, and handsome.
Yeah, you know.
Tall,
but then,
dark, and handsome.
And then,
and muscles.
Yeah, when I was looking at him, it was like, this one. Yeah, and then in my own mind, he was out of my reach because he was having money. And I came to realize this later on when I started dating him already. Because when I find him first, he was not even having a car. Maybe he drove his car somewhere. So we started dating. And the next year, I got pregnant. And he called me out. He said, no, I don't want for you to be there again. So I came back here from Rondo with him. So we stayed together. He built me a house. Yeah, when he built me a house, he married me. Because when I came back here, I started going back to church again. I committed myself to God because I thought he was married. You know, I was afraid of...
Oh, because of the experiences before.
Yeah, because of the experience before, I started going back to church. And I was giving him half a heart. Because I was like, you are with somebody's husband. I mean, it's not good. So we started going forward until one day, one of these days, yeah, let me say on the first day while we were in Rondo, the first day that I met him, you know, I was like trying to chase him away to see if I tell him the truth. Maybe I told my brother, me, I'm already 25 years old. I have 5 kids, like 5 kids. I don't think it's proper for you to even think of me as in that manner. And he was like, it's you that I want. It's not the babies, the kids that I want. It's you that I want. So if things work out for you between you and I, kids are nothing. So today, as I'm speaking to you,
just wear there. I just go like this. Tate prata.
So
very few men are like that.
So we came. One day we were going to church, and he told me no. On a Saturday, he told me no. Tomorrow, I want you and I to go to your church. We are going to present ourselves. The church should know that we are together now. So you should bring a witness. So to me, I was like, what is that called? Because in Namibia, we don't go with boyfriends at church and you present yourself and bring witness. I did not understand. It was on the 13th of February, 2010. And we went to church. And when we went to church, one of my cousins came. She was older than me. She came, and one of his cousins also came, and the people who are around us. And one of the pastor at the church where we frequently sometimes used to visit, because he was also an Angolan, Bakongo, but Angolan. So we went to this church, and then in the church, the pastor said, because luckily the pastor is Ngangela like Tate Prata. They are the same tribe. So this pastor was like, okay, today we are having a wedding in the church. You know, Brother Manya, I was wearing a, how do you call that color? I think it's beige, like peaches, oranges, a suit, an ordinary suit that ladies wear when they go to church. And I was, because it was an AFM church, I tied my head with a doek, with a wrapper. You have to cover your head when you are going to AFM church. And I'm like, just going to ordinary church. So when the pastor said there's a wedding, so I was looking behind, because I cannot get married like that.
Is it you?
Maybe there's somebody, some other people who are getting married. So I came to find myself. They are saying, okay, the couple should come forward. And Tate's like, let's go. I'm saying, it's not us. Tate's like, let's go. And I'm like, no, it's not us. It's other people. No, it's us. And I'm like, are you not married in Angola? It's like, so what are we going to do there? No, we are going to get married. I still could not believe until when...
In your mind, all this time, you know this Tate is
In my
married.
mind, I know this Tate is married in Angola. So when we went to the altar, he was asked, the pastor was telling me, okay, I will ask, Shkwanyama, then you can translate. And I'm like, maybe he did not understand. It's better for this pastor to tell him in his language the word that he will understand himself. So the pastor asked him, do you take this woman, what? And he's like, I do. Then I'm like, really? In the church? And everybody was laughing. And I'm like, really? me with all 5 kids in my heart now. I just say, I was thinking out loud, but it really, really comes out as, I'm like, really? Then people were laughing and he was like, yes, I do. Then the pastor asked me and I was like, maybe I was dreaming. Until when we came from the church, we came home. He was like, I have been around and I found you worthy to be taking care of me and me taking care of you. The rest does not matter. As long as you are fine and I'm fine, we can go around everything. So as we are speaking now, it was 12 years ago. Wow. Yeah, so when we got married 2010, it was until 2000 and, in 2010, there somewhere, he told me, okay, I think it's time for us to have our own kids, even if it's just one between the two of us, because otherwise my families, they will start laughing at me because of the number of the other kids that I found you with. And I went to the gynecologist in Medipark Ongwediva. So I went there. I want to see if I'm physically fit.
Even all this time, you don't trust your body?
No. I want to trust myself again to see if I can be able to have a child. So I went, the gynecologist told me, you are very fine, but your womb is having boils and fibroids. You cannot carry a pregnancy to term. And by then I am committed by then. And I knew that God cannot, if God is capable of giving me a husband with 5 kids at this age, he will surely give me a baby. So when I left the hospital, I put these papers and everything that they gave me, then some medicines, I put them in the box, rubbish bin. I left them there, I went home. So my husband is asking me, so babes, how are you? How did the doctor say? I said, very fine. So we stayed for some other months, no pregnancy. Go to Dr. Gouda again. It's another private doctor in hospital. He's a general doctor, but he was also a gynecologist. I went there and he told me, my sister, I'm really sorry. Even if you get pregnant, you cannot carry a
Fully
pregnancy to 9 months. Your womb is having a problem with fibroids. It's really big. You cannot conceive even if a miracle happened for you to conceive, you cannot carry a pregnancy to a full term. Whew, I'm married.
Oh Lord.
So I'm done. I can no longer give birth to babies. So now people start telling that, now this one was in Chicago, you don't know. This is an old person from Chicago. This one we know her from Chicago. Oh, you don't know. And I'm like, so he will come and say, babes, I heard Chicago. I said, my brother, don't listen to people. And then one day he came again, a friend of his. He said, is this one? Hey, my brother.
You are in problems.
You are in of all the ladies that you have dated, you have decided to marry this one. So he came, he was really stressed. And I was thinking, what will I tell this guy? Will I tell him that the doctor said I cannot deliver the baby? What will I? Now if he find out about this one, I'm in trouble. And I believe God will do something. So I told him, my brother, I'm really sorry because I don't know. In my own capacity, I cannot tell you that everything will be fine. Married, I always having problems. I have never got married before. But hearing stories is better for you to experience yourself and trust in God. God gives babies. And up until that time, I could really not doubt that God will make me pregnant again. So after a few months, I got pregnant and was pregnant. After 3 months of pregnancy, I started bleeding, heavily bleeding. And I was alone at home. There was nobody. And by God's grace, we were having a car. So I drove to the doctor. When I went to the doctor said, my sister, I'm sorry, the pregnancy got aborted. I was like, my God. I was like, it cannot be, There is a time that you have a problem and you will think, it's not true. It cannot be. I really believed God cannot allow me to go through such a pain in my life. It's unbelievable. I believe he's bigger and he's capable of doing better than what I'm seeing with my own eyes. So the doctor told me, you will go to a theater. I'll go to Nanjokwe. I'll meet you in the afternoon, in the evening after work. I will come and perform cleansing, cleaning your uterus.
Yeah.
So when I went there, because I was heavily bleeding and I'm driving myself, and I was a bit like in pain, and I was heavily bleeding, so I have to put a plastic in the chair of the car. So the car seat, I drove to Nanjokwe, but when I reached there, I was driving over speed. So these other traffic guys, they were following me, chasing me. And when I reached Nanjokwe, luckily I found one other car coming out. So I went in and I parked, just to open the doors for me to faint. So by God's grace, I really thank God that I fainted that day, because the card that the doctor gave me, the file, it was in the car. So they could not find it. They just took me and they took me to the ward without knowing what is going on with me. So they started they only put a VI. Yeah, so I stayed there for 2 days. The doctor forgot me. I stayed there for 2 days. I don't know whether he forgot me or maybe he could not find me, because even the doctors, they don't know the nurses, they don't know where I came from. So I stayed there for 2 days, and it's when I came around. When I came around, the nurses, they were asking, what is going on? And I'm like, no, I came from the file that I came with from the doctors in the car. I gave them the key, they went to get. When they get, they said, no, doctor wrote for you like 6 injections to be injected on you. And I lied. I said, I'm allergic to injections. So call him and tell him that I cannot take injections, better tablets. Then they wrote tablets. When they bring tablets, I'll pretend to drink and flush them in the toilet.
You're not serious?
I am serious, because I believed I was still pregnant. Because, I have been pregnant for 5 months. I can feel I was still pregnant. I don't know what happened. But on the 4th day, the doctor came to check on me, how I am doing. By then, the bleeding was still there, but small. And he was like, no, the pregnancy aborted, you are no longer pregnant. This medical words that they give that you really don't, sometimes you don't understand what they are saying. But I believe he said I was not pregnant anymore. Yeah, but I insisted that I should go to a sauna, because by this time Tate Kaliata was not around. He has been in Angola for 4 months. Actually, they were having problems with some trucks. I was alone at home. So when I went to the sauna, the doctor was even arguing, no, it's a waste of money. There's no need for you to go there. Why are you going there? And I was like, it's not a problem. I do have money. Let me at least do this for the peace of mind, because I can feel that I am still pregnant. So the doctor was even saying like, oh, Eba. So he wrote something and I went to the sauna. When I went there, I stayed in the queue, a long queue. When I was there, I was really like praying, like, God, don't let me down. Because it was a disgrace for you to have those kids and you get somebody who
is serious with you, then you cannot get one.
Just one. So my time comes, and I went in. It was a white lady, and she was like those pim, 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 pim. Then I heard kutuk, kutuk, kutuk. And I was like, yes.
That is what I wanted.
And then she said, congratulations, you are still pregnant. The baby is still there. This is the heart of the baby. It's strong. It's beating strong. It's stronger even. So I left the hospital. I went home. I was pregnant. And I was 3 months pregnant. And I decided I will never visit any doctor again until the day that I'm on labor pain. So I stayed at home for 4 months. Then Tate came. So when Tate came, because let me say for the 5th month, because of the body that I have, you cannot really tell when I'm pregnant.
You're pregnant or not.
But by then the stomach was like this. Even when Tate came back, he was like, did you miscalculate the months? Because I'm not attending any antenatal checkups. I'm not going to any doctors. I'm eating my food. I sleep. I pray. That's it. So on the 8th month that they decided, no, this stomach is very big. Maybe you have miscalculated, let's go. But then I have to be picked. If I sit, somebody have to come and pick me from the chair. I cannot stand on my own. So then he convinced me. We went to another doctor in Oshakati, the same one who told me that I cannot conceive. We went there. When we went there, oh, how are you? We went to a sauna again. Because Tate was telling, my husband was telling the doctor, no, I think she miscalculated. I think this pregnancy is overdue. It's too big. So we went to a sauna, and it was like because I told him what I went through. And he was like, maybe it was twins, and one got out and the one left. So when we went there, the doctor was like, okay, congratulations. He said, congratulations, which sex do you want for the babies? And that was like, babies.
Did you put S there?
Did you put S there? And the doctor was like, yes, you have twins. Like, my husband jumped and screamed, because that private clinic always was full with other people from the other side, Angolans. He was telling everybody, my wife is going to have twins, my brother, my sister. He was really happy, and I was more than, I could faint. If happiness can make somebody to faint, I could faint that day. I really thanked God, because I believe people were laughing at me, people were humiliating me, and he got me a double joy. So I ended up delivering 2 baby girls. They were
Lulu
healthy.
and Lily.
Lulu and Lily.
Lulu and Lily.
So you have been there, and you have seen it all. So fast forward, in 2013, God Almighty gave us again another baby girl. So now we are having 3 babies. To make a story short, you know, I always believed when I was young. My mother's sister always, let me say, almost everywhere I go, when I was jumping from one house to another house, I did not like hair. I liked to cut my hair, and people were always referring to me as ugly. Say, you are ugly. You will never get married. You will never. So people believed, especially after I got pregnant at a younger age, they believed I would amount to nothing. So I got to be called a wife at an older age. God gave me a husband with lots of kids, and it's not like maybe I was living with somebody and gave me those kids. I dated 5 people to get those 5 kids. A black African man. You are a man. No one. If it was not God, no one. I am now understanding that somebody can do that because it happens to me. But if it was not so, I believe even my mother could not allow any of my brothers to marry somebody with 5 kids if it did not happen to me. Yeah, so I cannot, like, going in the street every day to say, you guys, I'm grateful to my husband because he married me, because I cannot do that, but it's what I'm feeling every day. I count myself to be a lucky woman, to be able to find a husband like him. When I got married, I did not even know how to cook. In our culture, cooking is like boiling everything.
Hey, rice, macaroni, chicken, put water, close.
Everything and close.
20 minutes.
Yeah, then
if
it's
it is
done.
pap, it's everything.
Everything
put
together.
water, close.
That's how I know. So when his family comes to visit us, and I'm blessed with languages anyway. So
that one I can attest.
yeah, so they will come and they will talk. At first I did not understand. They will talk, then I did not understand. Until one day, it's just like somebody opened something from my ears and they were saying, hey, it's today that we are seeing things. What is this? My God. So you call this cooking? And my husband was like, no, she does not know how to cook and things. And people were laughing. So when they went, I told my husband, and I'm like, babes, teach me how to cook your food. I don't want to be laughed at when people are coming. These were only friends and cousins and sisters. What about your parents when they come? Or if I go there and they say, cook something for us. Teach me how to cook. I cannot even fry eggs. I'll burn them. I cannot even cook this ordinary rice. It will be like a porridge, hard porridge. I cannot even cook macaroni, let alone meat, everything. It was just boiling, boiling, boiling. So he was patient enough. He took me to the kitchen. This is how you boil, how you do scrambled egg, how you boil eggs, how you fry eggs, how you cook beans, how you cook rice, everything. Today, I'm an excellent cooker. I'm happy.
My sister, you got an angel for a man.
Yes.
I don't know if you understand.
I do understand
you
that.
You got an angel for a man.
I do understand that.
We have stayed here over 1 hour.
Yes.
We have stayed over 1 hour.
1 hour?
Over.
I cannot believe it. My God. Hey.
My sister, that has been a journey.
Yes, God has been.
That has been a really
God has worked with me. Until now, He's still working with me. You know, I'm now 46 years old. My husband is 45 years old. I might look heavy. I'm heavy. I have been a big girl ever since. And I'm thankful to God. I can attest I don't have any other disease in my body, not even high blood pressure, not diabetes, nothing. I'm just healthy. If you see me thin, maybe it's because I want to lose a bit of weight. Yeah.
You want to go to triple D.
But otherwise, I'm good and healthy. It's only God. People of my age, some of them, they are dead already. Some of them, they have one sickness after the other. But I'm healthy. And so are my kids and my husband. I'm really grateful to God.
My sister.
Yes.
The way I see this story, it looks like we will look for each other for part 2.
You know, when you were calling me an iron lady, you know, I really went through fire for me to be the woman that I am today, you know. You see me smiling like this, it's because I'm really happy. I have, you know, I will think, I don't think there's something that can break me down if I was not broken by then. Yeah, I can see that I'm stronger. I'm a very strong woman. Yeah.
Maybe I should, just as we summarize, what keeps you moving?
Faith.
Yeah?
Faith.
Faith.
Yes, faith. I believe God. Every day when the devil put something heavy on me, I believe God is going to give me greater than what I'm facing that day. Yeah, that's what I believed in. And I also believe that, you know, when God prepared something for you, it will never fall on somebody else's hand. It will never pass you by. It may take longer because of, let me say, the journey that we take. Sometimes we take the left turn while God wants us to turn right, but it will surely come to pass.
My sister, I just want you to look at this camera. I want you to talk to that girl who has had children before, who has given up, you know. That person who does not even know what to do from there. She has given up. She has lost hope. I want you to just talk to that person. Just look at this camera and talk to that person.
You know, nobody is useless. Whatever you might find yourself going through today, people think you are useless, you have babies now, nobody will want to marry you, you are too old, your time is going. It's a lie. If God can do it for me, He can also do it for you. Just believe in God and have faith and keep your dignity and integrity. You will do better.
Oh, my sister, I'm speechless. It's like I would sit here and listen to you again, you know.
I know.
I really, my sister, I'm really thankful that God has given us. I know there's a lot that you would not have shared. We cannot summarize your life in 1 hour.
No, it's a long journey.
It's a long journey.
It's a long
We have reached what but you can promise me that this is not the last time I'm going to have you.
I promise.
Maybe we'll pick it up from there now.
You
know, we're good. So, my sister, thank you so much for having time with us. I know this has been some little time. And keep praying for each other.
Yes.
You know, we go through different types of lives, and you know, our stories may influence someone else in a different way.
True.
You
it's
know,
true.
I never knew you. I never knew you.
It's true. But today we are here.
Today we are here,
Yes.
and I hope someone who is watching for today or who will be watching this, I just believe that God has blessed us with different abilities.
Yes.
Like I said last time, I don't have a church to preach, but I have a media into which someone can be helped. So if we have such fora, then I believe God is going to speak to people in a different way. Sometimes you just want to listen to someone's story and it helps you. I've heard a lot about many other people and they have challenged my life in a different way. And that is why I believe that God is putting this one as a burden in my heart so that we are able to push this, this gospel so far. I really appreciate. Thank you so much, my sister, for having time with us.
So much.
Thank you so much for deciding to give us 2 of your hours, of your precious. You could have gone home, you just told me your husband is home now.
Yes,
you could have chosen to say,
go.
me, I'm going home.
Yes.
But I really appreciate you so much. And
I know.
Thank you so much. I know
somebody
this is
who's
going to add a lot
to
of
listen
value.
to this, they are going to know they are not worthless. The time is not over yet. Something good and greater will happen to their life. If it happens to me, they will have hope that God is there and He can touch people in a different way. Thank you for having me and for seeing me worthy to stand before you and talk to you.
It's the other way.
It
is the other way. It's not me seeing, it's you seeing, like.
Thank you.
So my brothers and sisters, when you are there, you have a story that you think can influence someone in a way, in one way or the other, please just send us an email. Our email is at the address in the bio. And don't forget to subscribe, share that thing, and don't forget to touch that notification button so that when we produce another one, you will be there. Thank you so much. God bless you. And we meet you in the next one.